What's up guys, Jivan back with another video. Have you ever wondered what is the difference between a good and a pro gamer? What actually separates them? Is it based on genetics, based on equipment, confidence, consistency? What makes them different? So in this video, we're gonna try to figure out what separates the two, and if you're trying to go pro, maybe it'll help you out. Before we hop into this video, I'd like to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Novos.gg. Novos is a professional training platform to help you get ready for upcoming tournaments. The sign-up process is easy. It's usually $10 a month, but it's free for the month of May. All you do is put in the weak points of your game, put in the hours you're looking to practice, and Novos will give you an entire training routine for that week. My favorite part of Novos is the workshop section. Here you can find a ton of videos approved by Novos to help you improve your game sense, where they break down pro players, or have guests like me make videos on there to help you guys out. There's lots more to explore on this training platform, so if you want to check out more, head to Novos.gg today to sign up for free. Without further ado, let's hop into this video. I think to start, we should just get the obvious stuff out of the way. Let's talk about equipment and ping. Yes, of course, the people with the better setups are going to have a better chance at competing in big tournaments like FNCS, where, you know, all platforms are allowed to play, like it's console versus PC, so usually the PC player with 240 Hz is just gonna dominate. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the things I dislike most about competitive gaming. I think a lot of us can agree, maybe not the people who have 240 Hz monitors and PCs, but it is kind of annoying because the people that can't afford it but have crazy skill, like, they're gonna struggle a lot more. But here's my advice to you guys, I started out on console, and I was on 40 ping as well. I played on that all the way up until Season X. That's when I got a basic $400 PC, like a really cheap PC. And I was able to get 60 FPS with less input lag on that PC. Like, I just slowly upgraded my setup throughout time, but no matter what setup I was on, I never complained about it. I would always just focus on getting as good as I could on that system, and then eventually I was able to upgrade my way as I saved money from working in a restaurant. Eventually, I was able to get a nice PC, and that's when I had a lot better of a chance in competitive gaming. So my advice is just grind on what you have and be patient. One day you might be able to afford a better setup and you'll be ready to pop off because you've already put in the grind, and now all of a sudden you have a god tier setup. Does that make sense? But just speaking as a person who's on 240 Hz, obviously it's not just like, oh, you have it, you guarantee you get money. Like, that's not how it works. There's millions of players out there, so it goes beyond just your equipment. A lot of people may be wondering, do genetics play a part in this? This is something that I think nobody really is qualified to answer in the Fortnite community, but genetics have to play some part in whether or not you can go pro, right? This is the way I like to look at it. The people who have genetics that give them crazy determination to achieve their goals, those types of people are going to have the best chance to go pro. What I mean by this is the people who want it the most and are willing to work for it. The people with those genetics are going to be the most successful. I've worked my butt off since day one, which is how I've been able to become a content creator. And when I say work my butt off, I mean I was in college studying astrophysics, and on top of that I was working a restaurant job on the weekends, and on top of that I was also editing for other YouTubers during the weekdays part-time. On top of all that and my social life, I grinded Fortnite, and I managed a YouTube channel where I tried to post every other day. That's determination right there. There was nothing I wanted more than becoming a YouTuber. If you want something, you gotta work for it. There were so many times where I thought I would never be able to become a YouTuber, and this stuff that I'm saying can apply to being pro in gaming too. There were so many times I thought I would never make it and I wanted to quit, but I love doing it. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, if I love doing it, even if I don't make it in the long run, I'm still gonna enjoy the process of grinding and, making these YouTube videos. So I kept going, I never stopped, and then one day, all that work paid off. That's what I'm talking about. Those type of genetics, determination, never giving up. That's the type of stuff that's gonna make you make it in life. Yo, I swear, sometimes I forget I'm recording a Fortnite video, bro. Let's move on to some stuff that you guys can actually apply to your own game and your own practice. Something you may be wondering is, what makes the pros' practice routines different than yours? What are they doing different that's actually getting them to that point where they can just destroy everyone in sight? Obviously, I can't speak for every single pro, but I feel like I've been getting pretty close to the point where those pro players are at. So I'm gonna be speaking from personal experience here. The most important thing in your grind is to be doing the things that others aren't willing to do. This means working your way up the ranks in Scrims servers. If you're brand new to Scrims, that means starting out in an open Scrims server and learning what you can there, and then moving your way up the ranks and getting invited to more prestigious servers. For NA East servers, the best place to go is Manu Scrims. You've probably heard of them. You start out in Manu's open scrims, and if you do well, you'll make it into Vitals. Vitals is probably the most stacked scrims I've ever played. Ask around about the best scrim servers for your region, and I guarantee you'll be able to find some. But scrims aren't the only thing, you know? The other things that people aren't willing to do is aim training consistently. I aim train literally every single day. Over time, I've learned to love it, you know? I'll just throw on some music, aim train for a while, try to beat my scores, and dude, I tell you, and I mean this, aim training has been one of the craziest things to improve my mechanics. Not just my aim, also my crosshair placement and consistency. On top of that, you know, if you're not very good at piece control, practicing in Raiders piece control maps, doing that stuff daily until you get better, or 1v1ing people that are better than you. These are some of the things that other people aren't willing to do that you need to do to get better. Now, the last one and one of the most important ones is watching back your games and really thinking about the game. What did you do wrong? Watching tutorials on how you can get better game sense, all that stuff is crazy important for getting better in FNCS and big tournaments. One last thing that Kenbeans and I were talking about, and we think that is one of the most key things that separates good from pro players, is the fact that when Ken and I train our mechanics, we're not just like hopping into Raiders piece control map and grinding it. We hop into that map with a purpose. Like, is the purpose to get better crosshair placement today? Is it to go faster than the day before? Is it to try to have flicky piece control and then smooth aim? Like, what is the purpose of your piece control practice today? Or what is the purpose of your aim training today? Is it to try to not have shakiness in your arm while you're tracking? Like, go into mechanical training with a purpose and push yourself. Try to do things that make you uncomfortable, and that's how you get better. And this is not just for Fortnite, this is for anything. If you're a basketball player, if you're a football player, if you play piano, do stuff that tests your limits and you'll see improvements faster than you ever have. Don't just practice with a purpose, and practice to the point where you get like tired afterwards. That's how you go pro at something fast. I'm telling you, stepping out of my comfort zone was one of the biggest things that helped me see improvement. One example, some of you might remember this, a couple seasons ago when I was grinding mostly solos, I would test myself with one thing each solo tournament. It would be like, oh, look for high ground every single endgame. That way I could learn like what situations can you actually go for high ground in a late game. Another week was W key every single game, or W key at least like 2 people every single game to get some experience fighting in solo cash cups. Doing stuff like that helped my confidence so much and helped me get to the point where I am in solos. That helped my confidence a lot with fighting, so anytime I would get keyed in a solo cash cup, I would know what to do, I wouldn't get nervous. Confidence has got to be one of the most insane parts for going pro. So how do you actually gain confidence? The only way you can get confident in Fortnite, like against good players, is by gaining confidence in your own playstyle. I would say the best way that I got confidence with fighting was running 1v1s against players that are really, really good at the game. The way I gained confidence in endgames and when going for refreshes was by playing scrims and practicing looking for a lot more kills. And in solo cash cups, practicing actually jumping into people's boxes rather than playing the passive game. A good example is Kenbeans and I have been trying to gain confidence going for pre-edit plays on people. And so we hopped into Arena and literally just every single fight, anytime somebody boxed up, we would go for a pre-edit. Even though it's not necessary, doing that helped us get the rhythm of it down. It helped us gain confidence going for pre-edits. So then when we played the Performance Eval Cup the other day, the highlights for that are on my second channel, we actually made finals. When we were playing that, we actually went for a good amount of pre-edit plays, and the only way we had the confidence to do that was by practicing it. Basically how it goes is once you experience something enough, no matter what it is, once you get full pieced enough, once you hit a high ground retake enough, you gain confidence with it, you learn how to counter what they're doing, how to complete what you're trying to do, and it just becomes easy and you don't even need to think, you don't get nervous. It's all about experience. And along the topic of not thinking, you gotta get to the point where you don't even need to think about your mechanics in the middle of a fight. I've talked about this before, but basically you need to practice your mechanics until you get to the point where you can be in like a build fight and you don't need to think about your builds at all. You can put all of your attention on tracking the opponent. Once you get to that point, you'll be able to box people way better, keep up with faster paced players, and play a lot more strategically in fights. Pretty much all I think about in fights now is angles. My building and editing just feels like second nature. It's like walking, and that should be your goal if you want to get to the pro level. And now last thing that I think is so important is that to be a pro, you gotta be streaming and making content to make the most out of a gaming career. If you're not doing that, you're just not gonna have enough income from tournaments alone, I guarantee it. Unless you're like top 3 in your region, it's gonna be tough. And so I just recommend to anybody that wants to get into gaming as a career, it's like one of your dreams, I would just say start streaming right away. Start making content as soon as you can. Download some editing software, learn to edit. Even if you don't pursue gaming as a full-time career in the long run, learning to edit is just a good skill to have. I edited for people as a part-time job. I know a lot of people that have done graphic design as part-time jobs and full-time jobs, you know? A lot of people that I knew way back in the day when I was editing when I was in middle school. I knew some other editors, and some of them are full-time editors now for like movie companies. I'm not even kidding. They fell in love with editing and just decided to pursue it for their full-time job, their full-time career. So I really recommend, if you're trying to make it in gaming, download some editing software, download Photoshop, all that stuff. That's another one of those things that costs money, but it's probably one of the top 3 things that I'm most happy that I did when I was younger. Learning to edit. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't really done a talk like this in a while. Let me know if there's other topics that you want me to talk about like this. Please consider hitting that like button, subbing if you're new, using code JivanTV, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.